This show is brought to you by Directory.com, the safest way to hire a contractor.
And we are back. Today we're answering all of your questions. If you have a question for us, your contractors, this is the best place to ask them. 612-558-4881. Text us your questions and maybe we'll be answering them in the next show. This one comes from Andy Riago. I'm about to get a new roof thanks to insurance, but how do I tell if a roofing company is using premium barriers or cheap ones? You say that it's important that they use premium, not cheap, but you don't say how to tell which are premium, which are cheap. I have an answer for it, but I want to hear from you guys. Randy?
Well, both of our companies, both Eustis and DT, do use brand products that are very well known, I believe. I know we're an Owens Corning shop, and Jason, you guys are GAF? Certainty. That's what it is. That's right. Certainty. So generally, when a company is utilizing a higher brand, that's naturally going to indicate the premium solutions. However, there are items that sometimes those brands, and they're going to hate that if they're watching this, they're going to hate that I say this, but you pay a premium from the contractor side for their name being on it. Things like the felt, the synthetic felt, the ice and water shield. Although ice and water shield is more prevalent in Dimitri's market with snow than it is in our market where we have more fair weather. We use ice and water shield in the valleys and around chimneys and what have you. But as long as the company that you're working with has, and this is past shows where we talked about making sure you choose the right contractor, they're generally going to use a good quality product, but it may not always be the brand of the shingles that they put on. That's just a business decision, for the company.
The way I read it, though, Randy, I agree with what you're saying, but I think the angle here is a little bit different. So this is this is insurance claim. So I think the question here is insurance claim. The roofer going to remove everything. So think about this: if it's Owens Corning job, right? So insurance going to say removal, replacement with a likewise quality, right? So let's say it's a Grace underlayment, peel and stick, it's a higher quality, right? And roofer and insurance pays for it. Insurance pays to replace what you have. Yeah. But if a roofer goes and buys builder's grade felt, builder's grade ice and water, so technically speaking, insurance is paying for it. So if a roofer, I think that the way I would answer this question, and I always have been for over the years, you have to ask yourself or ask your roofer to identify all the products they're using. Because if your roofer is just saying file paper and no brand, there's probably a reason for it. And if you have something premium on your roof and you're getting downgraded, that's what I don't want to happen. That's, to me, it's almost like a fraud. Because
some quick advice that you can give a consumer is, let's say, because I would probably assume that 90% of our consumers that are listening to this fall into this category, and that is they look at the scope of work and it's just a different language. They don't even understand what synthetic felt is. And, one of the sponsors of the show, Directory, they have a service where you can actually send your scope of work in and they will define it for you. They'll explain to you what it says and what to make sure you're asking your roofer for, so they can kind of be a language translator, if you will, for you on that. So, but yeah, absolutely. If it says synthetic felt, that's different than the black paper felt that a lot of roofers will try to use to cut corners. If it says that the Valley had Valley metal and you see your roofer go back with ice and water shield or a black matting material, that's actually an upgrade. That's the case with our company, is we won't use metal back in the valleys. We always use ice and water shield. So, make sure you ask questions, but if you educate yourself through services like Directory, that will give you what to ask.
But
I got an answer for this too.
Go ahead.
So I got a unique answer. First of all, like you can't trust any manufacturer's warranties. They're hard to come by where they actually honor it. So the best one, honestly, is going to be Directory for the homeowner. But the way I look at it from a roofing company standpoint, a customer, is first thing you got to do is you got to pick the roofer that you ultimately trust the most. Like, who's the roofer that you feel like is the best fit for you? And for me, once I figure that out, I'm going to go with the company that they recommend as far as a manufacturer. And the reason is that roofer has extreme leverage with that manufacturer. So if I buy from you as a roofing company, but choose another manufacturer, they're probably not buying huge quantities from that manufacturer and they have zero leverage when something goes wrong. So I think that you should pick and trust in the roofing company that fits you the best and the shingle that they're recommending and that they use on 99% of their jobs. That's who I'm going to trust because I know that roofer has leverage when it comes to that manufacturer. They're buying huge quantities and they can hold them accountable at that point. So to me, the only warranty out there is the leverage warranty that I call. It's leverage. It's the leverage that the roofer has against the manufacturer or directory, right? That's a leverage point.
I would say a rule of thumb is the more specific they are in writing, the better. I have seen estimates, and thank you, Randy, for mentioning it. If you're listening and you are going through that process of picking estimates, I mean, I've done it for the past 5 years now. Send me those 3-4 estimates, and I'll email you back who I think is best option for you. Because I have seen estimates where people don't even specify brand. They would say architectural shingles, felt paper. Like the more specific they are, the better for you. Because I'll give you an example. You can go to Menards, Home Depot, or Lowe's, and you can buy felt paper. The one roll will cost $40, another will cost $90, and some cost $150. So your insurance might be paying you $150, and your roofer might be paying $50 because he's saving $100 on a roll. That's not the saving that goes to your pocket, but to his pocket. And the only reason he can do it because he did not put it in writing. So ask those questions, and it's actually the best question to ask during the interview. Hey, what underlayment you're going to use? What brand of ice and water shield you're going to install? Because if you see it in writing, you ask to specify the brand. Let's go to the next one, guys. New roof installed. Question comes from Woodstream6137. Found out subcontractors didn't remove bad wood over part of a garage. It has ridge venting and should have used some sort of adhesive underlayment like rain and ice water. Went into the loft so you can see the underlayment through the 2 softball size holes in the wood. Do they need to redo the whole side of the garage, or can the rain and ice be merged with existing work so only the bad sections need replaced? What do you guys do if you see, like, what advice would you give? And I actually have seen it quite a few times. And for those homeowners who maybe thinks that it's a small deal, it is a big deal, and I'll explain why contractors are doing it. Roofers make money when they replace roofs. They get paid by squares. Usually it's a very fast process, in and out, right? So, our workers, whether they're employees or subcontractors, doesn't matter. They know that they should do it. Everybody knows it. But the problem is, if you cover it, it comes down to integrity of the roofer. If you cover it, because you don't want to go to Home Depot, you don't want to waste 2 hours, back and forth to buy extra, piece of plywood or one buy what's not. And a lot of roofers, unfortunately, they're all humans, and some of them don't have good ethics. They just cover it, right? And actually, it's true not only to roofing, it's true to flooring, to drywall. Just cover it up and not deal with it later. But if you catch them doing it, like, what's the proper action in your opinion, guys?
Well, just obviously wood rot, which if we back it up a little bit, that's another reason why you want to make sure you choose a reputable contractor, because I think I have a video issue.
It's okay, we can hear you.
I can hear you.
Okay, so but use a reputable contractor who is going to take the roof all the way down to the deck, and that way they can identify rot. That way that they can identify maybe accessory. It sounded like when they mentioned 2 softball size holes, these are not made by Mother Nature, I would assume. They're referring to old accessories that were probably through the roof at some point that are no longer relevant. And instead of cutting out that section of the roof and putting down a new piece of wood, they just covered it. And not only is that terrible practice, because wherever those shingles fall, that nail is not going to have a bite if it's either rotten wood or if there's a hole in the roof because of an old accessory. and that's going to make the roof susceptible to wind damage in the future. And so, yes, absolutely. Whoever this wood stream 6137, you want to require that your contractor come back, remove the shingles from that area, and replace the decking in that area so that you have a solid system.
We agree.
Yeah, I totally agree. One thing I wanted to add to that is for us, like we incentivize huge incentives for the roofers to replace the wood. Pictures, we document it all so the homeowner can get those pictures. So if I was that homeowner, I would ask for the pictures during the job site so you have that and you can kind of see what's going on. That should be something that's easy to get. But as Randy points out, the nails, what we see in Florida is the nail will actually work its way back out and cause a leak. So it'll come back through the shingle if it didn't hit anything. And we actually have to penetrate the wood by a 1/4 inch here in Florida to make sure the nail doesn't come back out. So if you're not even penetrating, it'll work its way back through the shingle and cut a hole back through it, and then the water will come in. What I would do is I would try to get the roofer out to fix those areas, pull the shingles out, fix those areas, make sure you're comfortable with that. Maybe it doesn't need the whole side pulled off. Another thing with roofers on the job site, if the material is there, they will do the right thing. A lot of times, if it isn't there, is when they actually don't do the right thing because of a speed issue. They want to get the job done. So I always find that they typically want to do the right thing, but you have to have it there or accessible for them or the speed that you get it to them. So for us, we have project managers that look through the pictures to make sure it was replaced, that are walking the job site, that have the plywood in their trucks to make sure it's accessible. And typically, a roofer will always do the right thing if the material is there.
Well, if it's managed properly, I agree.
Right.
But I would say as a homeowner, first of all, this is one of those negotiation pieces, and it should be in your contract to begin with that your contractor will do it. It's just setting up those expectations. On top of that, you can ask the question, what's going to happen, and what's your process of repairing, stuff. And also, if you do notice it, don't compromise it. I mean, your roof, your shingles, if we're talking about asphalt, life expectancy 15, 20 years. If it's metal, it's more than that. So think about it. If you cover a soft spot, it's going to be sagging. It's probably going to start pulling some water. You're compromising entire roof. And you might have issue 5 years down the road, which is... Go ahead.
I was going to say, let's set some expectations properly as well from the contractor side to the consumer. And that is, it isn't the contractor's responsibility to cover the costs for rotten spots throughout your roofing system when they tear off the roof correctly. That should be a cost that you incur as a homeowner. And sometimes your insurance company, if it's a claim, will pay for it. Sometimes they won't. In our contracts, it says the first sheet of decking is included in our install. So if we can find 2 or 3 spots and use that sheet of decking, no charge to the customer at all. Every piece of decking after that will cost the customer a specific dollar amount. That way the customer understands at the contract stage that there may be a cost incurred, but we're going to show you photos of the rotten spot. We're going to show you a photo of it completely cut out and then the new piece of wood put in place so that they understand where that cost came from. So don't expect your contractor to incur the cost, because sometimes it is a maintenance issue. Maybe you had a leak in that section of your roof. Some shingles blew off for years ago from a windstorm and you neglected to fix that. Well, water got past, rotted the decking. That's not your contractor's fault, but it is the contractor's responsibility to be professional and to point that out to you at the install stage, and then of course do the work and charge you for it.
And Dimitri, I have a way to solve that for the homeowner to get the roofer back out. So in Florida, and I don't know where they're at, but you can actually call the city or the county and report that you have an issue with the installer, the roofer, or the contractor. And if they pull a permit, the city will meet the contractor back out there. They'll require them to fix it. And if they don't, they won't let them pull another permit in that city. So depending on where you're at, not everybody has that accessibility, but a lot of times I'd call your local municipality and report it and see if they can help handle it.
Absolutely.
You always have reviews that you can use as well.
But I would also add one of the most important, though, in all of this, the reason why you cannot compromise and just forgive and move on is because the reason your roof will be compromised is because manufacturer warranty. No manufacturer will warranty. They all require solid decking. if your roofer went over it, now you don't have a warranty. Even if you register, your manufacturer going to come out and say, well, we're not going to guarantee that shingle is going to last because there's no solid base. So when we come back after the break, we'll talk about what will happen if a roofer who install your roof go out of business or dies. We have a spicy question from our listener. Wait until we come back.